At the end of the day, this all comes down to supply and demand. I don't care if it's a Starbucks coffee, if it's getting your lawn mowed. Every service and product on the planet is affected by two things: supply and demand. How much of something is out there, and who has the capacity and desire to purchase that thing. The feds have hiked rates again, and with rising inflation and skyrocketing rents, did you just miss the best-selling market in history? Before we jump into it and what my predictions are, leave me a comment below down in the description. Where do you think things are going? Today is May 6th, and feds recently hiked the rates about a half a point. This is going to affect the amount that banks can lend you money. In my opinion, it's not necessarily the rate hike that is the problem. It is the amount and the frequency, and then also predicted future hikes, that is the issue in causing all of these people to get into a tizzy. It's in that truncated short window and all the political international unrest, thanks Putin, along with the massive amount of spending that's happened over the last few years, that has caused a perfect storm and some massive sticker shock for those that are out searching and looking for homes. I've had clients that were casually looking online, say around the holiday season, and they were planning on selling and purchasing a new place sometime in the late or early spring. Well, in January, interest rates probably were hovering. You might be able to get 3.125, 3.25. So a $400,000 house, 5% down, might have been $2,750, depending on a few factors. Now, if you assume for zero appreciation for the time period of January to May, and you were to go out and afford that same $400,000 home, well, interest rates as of today, and probably in the future of May here, are gonna be right around 5.25% to 5.5%. That jacks the price, the mortgage payment, up to $2,750, $2,800. That is a freaking car payment, $400 to $450. So did you miss the boat? I don't mean that rhetorically, like answer, tell me down in the comments. Do you feel like you've missed the boat? In my opinion, yeah, you kind of did. The best time to sell in history was over the last 12 months. You had people going out and making offers that were offering $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 over list price and guaranteeing in cash. I had plenty of offers that went out from buyers that were paying some of the seller's closing costs and not asking for any closing costs. They were giving free rent back periods of up to 60 days if their loan would allow it. And if it was a cash offer, then they were giving it basically as long as they needed to go out and find their next home. With waived inspections and potentially even paying for some of the other things that came up on a termite moisture inspection, I would argue that the best possible time in history to sell within the last 40 or 50 years was last year. Maybe etching into the very early of this spring. But with rising interest rates, we are definitely seeing less loan applications and less people going out into the marketplace looking to buy a home. This problem is going to be compounded. And with the last 2 or 3 years with people buying in interest rates in the 2s and 3s, they have now zero interest in moving because they have to go out and buy in a marketplace of 5% interest rate and maybe even 7 by the end of the year. So you're gonna have a further driving of a supply problem of all these people that have zero incentive to move. And the biggest unfortunate problem here is this is going to affect the people at the lowest rungs first. You know, if you were barely able to afford a mortgage payment at the barrier to entry in your area, for Virginia Beach and Norfolk, that might be somewhere in the 175s to 250 range. Well, that interest hike may now have kicked you out. This is definitely going to slow the market down. It affects a little bit less those as you move up in the purchase price range because those people typically have larger discretionary budgets they can spend. It just means that they're compromising not going out to eat as often or maybe getting a slightly less nice of a car. At the end of the day, this all comes down to supply and demand. I don't care if it's a Starbucks coffee, if it's getting your lawn mowed. Every service and product on the planet is affected by two things: supply and demand. How much of something is out there and who has the capacity and desire to purchase that thing. And with interest rates rising, that is going to further decrease supply, but it's also going to decrease the buyers. I do think that we are going to consistently see a slowing down of the market. And it would not surprise me in the least if we hit 7% by the end of the year. But my prediction is over the next few months, with the big push that usually comes during summer, that we probably will not see as much of a slowdown until September, October, or November. But really this will be determined on whether the feds raise rates again and how quickly they're willing to do it. Now, what I would be interested in is, what is your opinion on what this administration is going to do with that before the next election cycle? Are they going to make the Fed lower rates to try to drive retention and make themselves look good? Let me know down in the comments. Until next time,